Hi, I'm Chris Haigh and this is the Fiddle channel, and today we're going to play a gypsy jazz version of Jingle Bell Rock. Jingle Bell Rock is a song first recorded by Bobby Helms in 1957, and it was a rock and roll version. It's possible you might play this with a function band, for example, doing it in that rock and roll style, but I'm going to do this in a gypsy jazz version. So I'm going to give you the guitar intro, the basic melody, and some ideas for improvisation. So, the intro is that. It doesn't sound quite as good on the fiddle as it does on the guitar. And if you've got a lead guitarist, he's obviously going to want to do it, or she. Ba-dum, bum, bum. Then we're into the melody. So I'll just show you those double stops. So that's what we're playing as the melody note, then F sharp, but we a D below it, and then a C sharp below it. Okay, and then the melody. You can play it, I'm going to simplify it a little bit, so. Okay, I'll just play it again now, just as I did there, just really simple, simplified phrasing, but more or less doing the vocal line. If you could take the trouble, then you could play closer to the vocal phrasing if you wanted, but I think that's pretty well a waste of time. The important thing is to get the skeleton of the melody and then to be able to dress it up in your own way, in a fiddly way, and maybe in a gypsy jazz way. So, one thing I very often do with gypsy jazz is whenever there's a long note, I break it up. So that could become, as in the vocal line, oh. Any way you want to syncopate it is going to be fine. And then that long note can be. syncopating across the bar line is nice. So I'm starting the next bar, that note, half a beat early. That's parallel fifths, which I've just done a video on. Works well on a phrase like that. So basically I'm playing the melody note and a fifth above. These kind of phrases, yeah, that's quarter note triplets, which works really well to vary the melody of this kind of tune. That's a good example of a long note to break up. Now here we've got going from a G to a G sharp. That's a good thing. If you're going down a scale, just double the notes. Here we got another G sharp diminished. So if you want, just go down an arpeggio. Here I'm just emphasizing a chord change. Just by going up and down the arpeggio. So there's loads of stuff like that you can do to the melody. So it's not an actual solo, but it's the melody dressed up in a way that Grappelli, for example, would play a melody. Whenever you hear him playing what we might call the head, he will play at least a third of what he plays is going to be improvised. And that's before he even gets to the solo. So let's go through it from the beginning again, doing that dressed up melody. So there's plenty of room for being creative and jazzy with just the basic melody. Let's just have a go soloing, and I will try and do, as I very often do, a major pentatonic scale all the way through it. There are various chords I can see in advance are not going to work really well, but I'm going to try and do that, maybe with a few blue notes to make it into the major blues scale. Let's just see what happens. So it wasn't a disaster. There are some chords where I had to pick my notes fairly carefully, or I had to accept a certain amount of dissonance. But this is not a difficult chord sequence, and I think it's possible to play fairly easily the chords without taking the trouble to memorize them, but just listening to them and hearing where it's changing. So for example, last line, we've got G major going to G minor. So it'd be really good not to be playing a B natural when it goes to to G minor. And whenever you get an A7, try and get some C sharps in, which are not in the D major pentatonic scale. So I'll do it again. I'll still be fairly unimaginative, but I will try and follow the chords a bit more closely. To G. So the main chords I was paying attention to were the A's, and line 2 of the melody. You can treat that kind of all as A. In fact, it's going G, A, G, A, G, A, but you could treat that as all A's. Just kind of simplifying it, you get the same 2 lines later. The bridge, you can treat it as 2 bars of G if you want. And again, and then A, and then back to D. It'd be nice if you could play the G sharp diminished, do an arpeggio on that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then again. That kind of thing. So you can pay as much attention to the chords as you want, but often you're kind of wasting your time obsessing about the chords, because accompanists will often play different chords anyway. Okay, so a final solo where I will attempt to be actually vaguely musical this time. Okay, so it may be an old song that you've heard maybe too many times, but there's lots you can do with this. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like a copy of the PDF of the sheet music, do subscribe to the channel, send me an email, I will send you a copy. And all of my PDFs are available on my Patreon page. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.